Hello, I'm Lynn Shea.
And I'm Peter Wakefield.
And today we're talking about the chart of Oprah Winfrey, the well-known broadcaster and campaigner. She was born the 29th of January 1954 at 4:30 a.m. local time in Mississippi. Now, Oprah has a rising sign of 29 degrees Sagittarius, and her sun is Aquarius, and she has a stellium of planets in Aquarius, in which in equal house is in the second house of finance, and self-earned money, which is very relevant to Oprah because we believe she's a billionaire.
Yes, the stellium of planets in Aquarius gives a lot of fluency to that second house, where of course it's the house of resources.
It is.
Channeling of energies.
Yes, many entrepreneurs, of which she is one, are born with the sun in Aquarius or have planets in Aquarius, because Aquarius is that wide-ranging frequency of reaching out, broadcasting, networking.
Yes, it's the 11th hour friend, isn't it? It's a house of luck, house of friendship, house of new age thinking,
house of philanthropy as well. There are a lot of philanthropists with also comedians. Comedians actually are famously known for being Aquarian in vibration and Sagittarian as well.
Yes,
and Oprah has her moon in Sagittarius in the 12th, so that's very low key passion or humour.
Yes, she's very buoyant, isn't she? That's part of her.
She is, but
wide appeal.
She's quite steady in her own nature, I think, for a satirizing person.
Yes, that second house sun is like is the house of Taurus naturally, so
Taurus,
it'll make her steady, but she'll be ambivalent as well.
Well, she's got both Mercury and Venus with the sun in the second house, and it's interesting to note at this stage that she's got a T-square between Mercury, Mars in Scorpio in the 11th, and Pluto 8th retrograde, and this means we see somebody who's very driven to work towards a certain lifestyle.
The T-square. Yes, to me I saw fear of actions going forward with this. Maybe she has certain phobias with new things or taking new things forward occasionally, especially when Mars is transiting. Okay,
so if we take that one step further, that fear of going forward could also be translated as somebody very dogged, or somebody, because she does have, I think, six fixed planets in signs. So I think also there's a fear of being controlled by others, which motivates her. So that Pluto retrograde in the 8th, Pluto is the planet of investment, long-term investment in Leo, as well, which is that sign of the beneficiary, or the person who wants to give benefit.
And of course now she's reached a point of consolidation in her professional life, whereby she is gaining more power the older she gets, and
she's very powerful now, isn't she?
Experience she has.
The Pluto is opposition the Mercury. Now Mercury talks about the mind, but it also talks about the person in childhood, and Pluto, I think, opposition Mercury shows a certain amount of pain in the background, and this is all part and parcel of the kind of motivation to not be beholden to people, or to not be controlled by other people, which leads individuals to becoming successful, because the best people who do become very successful and wealthy will tell you that kind of money brings freedom, and that's the best thing it buys.
She has had to learn the hard way with humble beginnings, and in her early life apparently there was poverty, and the neighbourhood, the aura in which she grew up around was very stricken. Her domestic life was far from ideal, apparently. And that Capricorn intercepted in the first would certainly...
Peter's talking about a Plastian chart.
Capricorn in the part of Capricorn in the first is consolidating that harshness in the early life, because the first house is early life.
I think as well that harshness will come off in the Uranus aspect in Cancer, which is 7th house, and it's squaring Neptune in that 10th house. So it's upset of career through partnership,
yeah,
or it's toxic partnerships.
And Cancer rules the 80s, the octogenarian years. So if she ever reaches the senior years in life, which of course we hope she will,
well, she probably will,
that Uranus in Cancer will make her senior years very much more emollient than her early life was. And the marriage, which is the 7th house, which Cancer is in, the partner,
which Uranus is in,
which Uranus is in, the partner will help mollify a lot of those early memories.
Because Uranus in the 7th would throw out the harmony, and what Uranus Cancer would say in the 7th is there's a lack of tenderness or a lack of nurture perhaps within partnership. It throws out the acceptance of nurture, because Uranus distorts or throws out whatever vibration it touches.
Yes, it does. Now that Jupiter, Lynn, is retrograde in Gemini. Now Jupiter doesn't do well in Gemini.
No, it
in
scatters.
Detriment.
It scatters itself.
It scatters, and the danger is, of course, with Jupiter in Gemini is Gemini will restrict the tendency to overdo things with Jupiter.
I think the opposite. I think retrograde Jupiter in Gemini means that people can't get enough experience and they want to cover too much ground too quickly. But it's a 6th house, so that's very karmic, and it would show in the area of loyalty and work. So that would show a natural investigator or a natural reporter or somebody who deals with the collecting or the collating of facts. Jupiter in Gemini.
Physically, the Jupiterian influence on the glandular system will make it difficult for her to keep in shape.
Well, I think she'd struggled a lot with weight, hasn't she? Because she's recently done an advert for Weight Watchers, certainly in the UK. So she met, that Jupiter. Wherever Jupiter is, it shows expansion.
She perhaps likes the good life a little bit.
Well, I should imagine she probably does. But you know, there are no Earth signs here. There are no planets on Earth.
No.
Which usually shows someone who doesn't like practicality.
Well, she's quite flighty with those planets in Aquarius, and of course she
dislikes too much of the mundane and the practicality. She likes the ideas, and she likes to move on with the ideas. Yeah. And this would go along with the Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. How anybody with a lack of Earth planets, though, has managed to be rooted, grounded and consolidate enough to earn money, I don't know. So she's probably had good advice or strong support around her.
Yeah, I think she bounces off her partner or partnerships. With that Cancer there, there'll be a lot of tendency to domesticate a lot of business.
Yes. Well, Cancer, yes, there will. There are more CEOs with Cancer Sun than any other sign, apparently. But
so she's got help there.
This Neptune squaring Uranus in the 7th, though, from the 10th to the 7th, and it's retrograde in Libra, shows
challenges.
Does it shows challenges to her popularity at some stage, probably in later career, or losses through the career, and rooted fundamentally in partners. So that might be business partnerships, it might be bad decisions around business partnerships,
or it's having to retire, the challenge of having to retire early
through
or through some sort of debilitation, personal
or through the partner,
both. Either.
Yeah. I think it, because the Uranus is conjunct the South Node, and the South Node and the North Node are very generational, but they show what the person's leaving behind and what they're heading towards. So she's leaving behind that area of partnership dysfunction.
Uranus rules the nerves as well, doesn't it?
Uranus rules the nerves, and Mercury's in Aquarius, and Uranus exoterically is the natural ruler of Aquarius. So we do see a kind of a great living on the edge, or a nervous system which is pumping on adrenaline.
But she does have this ability to bounce back with that Mars, very driven and energetic.
Mars is in Scorpio with Saturn, but it's not conjunct, but it's in the same vibration.
And it's in the house of friends, the 11th house.
It's in the 11th, aims, objectives,
so
recreational life, friends.
She gets re-energised through her friendships.
Well, I don't think the 11th house is about close friendships, is it? It's about associations.
Coterie of friends, yes.
It's about acquaintances, associations, and the leisure and the pleasure taken from that. So what we see is both a frustration, probably in earlier life, around recreation, and then in later years a kind of striving towards deepening certain aims and certain interests and passions that would come under the auspice of the 11th house.
She has been described as a philanthropist and campaigner. Now, that moon in Sag, to me, screams aiming at improving humanitarian conditions with aid and food for a lot of people abroad.
Moon in Sag, it's often said,
away from her own country.
Moon in Sag gives it away. That's one of the common sayings. So Moon in Sag is very generous. It's sometimes, what's the word, profligate. It just throws things away, or is very, very indiscriminate. But in the 12th house, there will be a lot of silent tithing. So there'll be a lot of silent giving or supporting without fuss, just silently giving money.
Yes.
And yes, this is the philanthropy.
That's right. The Moon in Sag reminds me of the Andrew Carnegie mentality of giving it all away, like you say.
Yeah. Sag rising it's at an anorectic degree. It's at 29 degrees, so that's an anorectic degree, and it shows like almost an absolute mania for kind of getting things done that she wants to do. So she's very driven. Again, there's a lot of being driven here in the chart, although there's a very placid exterior.
It's interesting to note, though, isn't it? It all began with the TV, and Sun in Aquarius gives fluency to the airwaves and being on air and fluency of resources.
It does, and to writing and expressing through language.
Yes.
Through both first language and foreign language, and also probably code, so maybe some kind of computer language, but also this accent on Aquarius is very entrepreneurial.
There have been personal challenges, I feel, with this Saturn in Scorpio link.
Definitely.
I've put a permutation. I've parsed the permutation of sexual inhibitions finally resolved to smooth out in marriage. So she's been helped through her marriage to smooth out those inhibitions, which I feel come from her early life.
Well, and Saturn squares Venus in Aquarius. So the Saturn Scorpio squaring Venus in Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius women are often not fearing intimacy, or not liking too much intimacy, liking more friendship, or liking to get the support fraternity and the support from a broader band of people, rather than giving to one person. And when we look at, yes, you're right, because this Saturn in Scorpio would show the fear, and the Venus would show the propensity coming from that fear to relating to broader, to more than just giving to one person or marriage, but relating to a broad life and a broad world, and by accident becoming very rich and famous by courtesy of that broad world.
Yes.
So what first becomes a healing is used for healing or escape, actually then becomes the saving grace of the whole life.
She's a typical child of Aquarius, though. She has this openness.
Yes.
That Sun conjunct Venus is very open and honest, and she has this levity. This, you said about comedians before. They have this energy which is buoyant, uplifting, a mental energy, it's an observational, embracing.
It's observational, isn't it? Humour, Aquarius. See, it's a stellium, isn't it? Because it's Venus and the Sun sit virtually on each other, but the Sun is positioned between Mercury and Venus, so it's an absolute stellium between Venus, Sun, and Mercury, which would suggest strong friendships, probably with both sexes, but an interest in campaigning maybe for female issues.
She can't do without other people.
No, she can't.
Liber in the midheaven as well.
Yes, but this Aquarian vibrator, they can't do without other people. They like, I mean, certainly Aquarian sun on its own, Aquarian sun people can often live quite solitary lives, but when you see other planets in Aquarius, you see this need to sort of communicate with the group. So what happens with Aquarius is it's a strength of individuality that is then taken into a group.
Yes.
It's either kept apart or it's taken into the group, because the group strengthens as individuals strengthen, and sometimes it'll be one individual who forms a group or integrates with a group and actually becomes the makings of that group. And I think she facilitates in a lot of different organisations.
I would agree. Now, in terms of ray energies, Aquarius, she has had to harden a little through the business world, and she's probably expressed more fifth ray energies, which is analysis and a more scientific and data driven approach to business over the years than she would have naturally. So there's a lot of fifth and fourth ray energies there, and seventh ray energies are also with Aquarius. And if anybody ever wants to find out about the seven rays, they can link into my LinkedIn account, where I'd be happy to oblige them.
So that's Peter Wakefield at LinkedIn. I think at this point then we've probably said enough about Oprah Winfrey. And thank you, and join us for the next Celebrity Pod. If you want more information on our astrology in general, please visit perceptivity.co.uk.
Thank you.